Hello, I am Constantine and today we're going to talk about inventory management. There are 10 ideas I propose to you to improve your inventory within the course Inventory Management. The goal of the course is to bring you awareness of concepts and tools of inventory management, create ideas for your professional development. Today in this promo session we will go through ABC analysis, concepts of safety stock and economically optimal order size, for purchasing and production point of view. To start, get a proper extract from your warehouse system for each SKU, at level of batches arrived at warehouse, date and quantity. Then make Excel table for all SKUs with columns, product family, SKU, batch arrival date to warehouse, batch size, and value. Then group them into 3A, B and C groups accordingly to the age, the time in warehouse, for example, up to 2 weeks, up to 3 months and above 3 months. Group all SKUs into product families and using annual volumes, calculate inventory in days of sales and inventory turns per year. We will go through it in a few minutes. Next, break your annual sales by SKU, by product family and by key SKUs, at the product's annual profit margin it delivers. Now, make your SKU ABC allocation accordingly to the volume of sales and profit margin that each SKU contributes to your business. For SKUs taken into Group A, apparently about 20% of total amount of SKUs, identify success factors, in other words clearly formulate their unique selling proposition, price, quality, availability, performance, durability, brand, product functionality, the effect of fashion, customer intimacy in service, etc. The quality of your analysis of Group A will determine your set of actions for further development and for Group B, for the search of SKU candidates to join A. For Group C, losers, and slobs, I recommend you perform a thorough root cause, 5 whys analysis in order to understand what can be improved and what SKUs can be delisted. Last but not least, create an action plan for each of ABC categories. Let's talk now about inventory structure. As a routine, you get ordered lot size delivery and evenly consume, sell it. At some time you place a next purchase order, goods in transit, to your vendor, and after some lead time, a new lot arrives at your warehouse to top up your actual, or working, stock. You have to bear in mind that you usually keep some safety stock to mitigate risks of unexpectedly high demand, or supply delay. Safety stock has to be kept as minimum as possible as it is your ballast goods that frees your working capital. Some companies add inventory reserves to manage unexpected events like force majeures of various natures. Needless to say, you have to keep your working stock level below your target KPI inventory. Thus, safety stock is the ballast or holding inventory to mitigate demand fluctuations, demand forecasting mistakes, and supply lead time fluctuations. Working stock is the actual or current inventory level comprising of safety stock, working or current stock, goods in transit to warehouse, reserve stock, to cover issues like force majeure. Target stock is the KPI for current stock, used for operational management purposes and benchmarking. Inventory, or stock, of all types, safety, current, target KPI, usually measured and calculated in several formats, depending on your task as we already mentioned. In physical units, for manufacturing, purchasing, and logistics planning point of view. In money units, for financial management and planning, forecasting. In days of sales, to make easier imagination of the size of the stock. It is important to know that all these units for inventory management need to be used, not just some of them. Safety stock is an inventory to mitigate out of stock in case of demand positive fluctuations, demand forecasting mistakes, or supply chain delays. If so, then, if having reliable numbers for max and average demand and lead time, safety stock can be calculated as a difference between their corresponding products. This is pretty straightforward. An example shows this simple calculation. However, usually, max levels of demand, as well as max lead time, are really occurred phenomena, so the formula from the previous slide will give you the max value of safety stock. If we want to bring into the equation the demand probability approach as well as the level of your customer service, different from 100%, then you have to get your demand standard deviation and use some customer service coefficients. Below there is a link for anyone interested in this formula, how it is created. By giving this example, I want to show you how highly sensitive the safety stock is to the demand standard deviation. In our consultancy sessions, we usually go through real business cases, especially if you provide me with fill templates based on your real inventory and safety stock data. Now let's talk about EOQ, economic optimal quantity of the production batch. Usually, production batch size is determined either from client order size or from the production technology point of view. However, if you produce mass goods as make-to-stock, then the concept of EOQ can help you to optimize the size of the production batch from an economic point of view. EOQ is production batch size when the costs of holding, ballast, inventories are equal to the expected lost profit margin caused by excessive production batch being done, so excessive batches, set-up, costs are spent. A typical example of holding inventory cost is the cost of annual money frozen in this, ballast, inventory. Typical examples of set-up costs are start, stop energy and relevant direct labor, cost of downtime for changeover, cleaning, retooling, dollar per one run. So, holding costs will appear linearly growing with an increase of production batch size, and the setup costs being independent from production batch size will be exponentially diluted with production batch size. EOQ will represent the optimum, actually minimum, when H and S are equal and their sum curve shows minimum as well. Let's take a look here at EOQ sensitivity to variables like demand, H, and production rate of the production line, where the production batch is made. If we encounter demand and setup costs growth, then we can expect well-anticipated growth of EOQ. If we encounter a holding inventory and production line output increase, then we can expect a sharp exponential decrease of EOQ. In our consultancy sessions, we go through real business cases, especially if you preliminary provide me with fill templates based on your real data. The value of the EOQ concept for real production business is to bring you awareness of batch setup costs and holding costs, and the curve with the minimum behavior of some relevant costs versus EOQ size. Thus, it makes sense to compare EOQ with your current batch's size you make. As we already know, EOQ determines an optimum size of the lot, actually purchase order, when costs of hold, ballast or safety, inventories are equal to expected lost profit margin coming from PO processing, admin and other costs, delivery, receiving costs. In this case EOQ formula becomes more simple. Typical example of holding inventory cost is the cost of annual money frozen in this, ballast, inventory. Typical example of setup costs are the admin costs of your purchasing and warehouse team spent for processing and receiving one PO, dollar per one PO. So, holding costs will appear linearly growing with an increase of PO size, and the setup costs being independent from PO size will be exponentially diluted with PO size. EOQ will represent the optimum, actually minimum, when H and S are equal and their sum curve shows minimum as well. Let's take a look here at EOQ sensitivity to variables like demand, S, and H. If we encounter demand growth, then we can expect well-anticipated growth of EOQ. If we encounter a holding inventory increase, then we can expect a decrease of EOQ. To finish this promo session, here are a few words about myself. With almost 30 years of operational experience in top management positions in big and middle-size international manufacturing companies, and a British MBA, I believe I can help you with consultancy to improve your particular businesses. Thanks and keep in touch.